So I have the feeling that we're witnessing one of the biggest brain, smartest plays in the history of human business. And it's coming from Michael Saylor. I want to walk you through exactly what he's doing, how he's essentially got an infinite money glitch, and then how people like me and you potentially could do this for ourselves. So I'm assuming you know who Michael Saylor is. He tweeted, MicroStrategy completes an $800 million offering of convertible notes at a 0.625% coupon and 42.5% conversion premium. Put simply, he's borrowing $800 million at almost 0.5%. And these big loans he's taking on have built him some insane wealth. This is his company here, MicroStrategy. It's number 297th largest company in the US. It's entered the S&P 500. And if we look at the graph, it's pretty insane. Have a look down here. I think there's a big spike right here that's just off the screen in the 2000.com bubble. But you can see they're back with a vengeance, and this has just gone absolutely parabolic. They're now valued at $28 billion. And being part of the S&P 500, now they're getting a bunch of money coming in, people buying their shares when they're investing in the SPY. So we're going to walk through this first, and I'm going to show you the exact strategies that he's using basically to print infinite money. This is the top Bitcoin holders: Coinbase, Binance. Obviously, the centralized exchanges have to hold a lot of Bitcoin. We've got Grayscale, Bitfinex, so there's another exchange here. The US government, interesting enough, based on a lot of their seizures that they've done, they're not actually buying Bitcoin as far as I'm aware. This is all the Bitcoin that they've seized in criminal activity. I say criminal activity, some of it actually is criminal activity. Other cases may be debatable. And then of course you've got BlackRock, which has gone to the 6th largest holder of Bitcoin in about 2 months of having the ETF passed. Here's MicroStrategy right here. They're the 7th largest holder of Bitcoin. You got another exchange. Mt. Gox, interesting, an old exchange that went down. I'm curious if they're still holding, who's holding that? Fidelity and Kraken. So you can see they're basically the only private company that's not an investment firm or an actual centralized exchange that are in the top 13 Bitcoin tokens. And why that's important is this right here, the infinite money glitch. So this is Michael Saylor down the bottom. Handsome chap. And his theory, along with a lot of people's theories, is that Bitcoin is going to go up forever. It's the best store of value that we've ever seen, and it's going to keep going up. Here's the graph over the last, I believe, year or so. So what he does is he issues new stock for his company, so he dilutes his current stockholders, or he'll take on debt, like the $800 million of debt that he just took on at a 0.5% interest rate, and buy Bitcoin, the asset that he believes is going to go up forever over time. Now, historically, Bitcoin has gone up forever. If you look at the yearly graph of Bitcoin, it's pretty impressive. This is what it looks like. You can see this is 2012, and when you graph it by yearly candles, it's up and to the right. And Michael Saylor expects that this will continue. Now, what happens as Bitcoin keeps going up? I don't know why Michael Saylor's down here, but it goes through Michael Saylor. He makes a bunch of money. But the stock price of MicroStrategy, which is now backed by an asset that is going up forever, also goes up. Now, what happens when MicroStrategy stock goes up? He can borrow against it more and he can issue more shares at a high valuation. What does he do with that? He buys more Bitcoin. And you can see this is a never-ending self-fulfilling prophecy loop that just keeps getting him more and more Bitcoin. And because Bitcoin's going up over time, gets him more and more value in his company. And if you need me to explain it a little bit differently, take a look at this. So basically, Michael Saylor is taking on cash loans, US dollar loans, and converting it to Bitcoin. Now, this is a common thing you see, infinity over 21 million. There's only 21 million Bitcoin out there. It's a truly scarce asset. And apparently about 4 to 5 million of that is lost, whether people have lost their private keys or it's Bitcoin dust, which is basically the little bits of Bitcoin that's left in people's wallets as they transfer large amounts out. And of course, how many US dollars are there in circulation? So many. How many is available to actually be made and printed? Infinite. They could turn on the printer again and print another $10 trillion. It doesn't mean they're printing $10 trillion of value. It's deflating the currency that's already out there. An easy example, I've got 2 pictures down here below. Just let's put this in really simple terms. This is dirt. I got that little grassy, leafy thing in here because it looked like poo when it wasn't there. It's not a pile of poo, it's dirt. And this here is gold. And what if you could trade in a kilo of dirt for a kilo of gold? Or a kilo of dirt for an ounce of gold? Well, you'd be like, well, I'd go out to the garden and I'd get all the dirt and I'd trade it for gold. And then I'd go to the park and I'd steal all the dirt from there. And then I'd go to every place in my city, every place in the country, every place in the world that has dirt, and I'd trade it for gold. Why? Because dirt is abundant. Although you can't print more like money, there's so much dirt out there. There's almost an infinite amount of dirt. Obviously, it's capped at some point. But compared to gold, which is scarce and a better store of value, you're going to be continually trading that dirt for gold, which is exactly what Michael Saylor is doing while he's borrowing as much cash as possible and trading it for an actual scarce asset. Now, two more things here. He's doing this on a large scale. You can see this is the MicroStrategy balance sheet, which here in 2023, you can see total liabilities, total loans and debt taken on, $2.6 billion. And you can see that's up from 2020 at $1 billion, but you can see the total assets is outgrown that. So he's taken on $2.6 billion of debt. And what has he done? He's bought Bitcoin with it. And now it all makes sense when you have a look at something like this. This is from James Van Stratton on Twitter. He wrote the progression of BTC holdings per share for MicroStrategy over time. General upward trend indicating that the amount of Bitcoin per share has been increasing despite the dilution of shares. So he's printing more shares, just like you can print more money, you can print more shares in a public company. And he's buying something really scarce like Bitcoin with it, which is allowing, if you're a holder of MicroStrategy, you don't care that he's diluting the shares because he's increasing the treasury of Bitcoin per share. You can see it's going up and to the right over time. They're saying, yes, it's not dilution, it's actually anti-dilution. Despite the number of MicroStrategy shares are going up, the value of them increases even more. Now, coming back to some practical takeaways from this. MicroStrategy is about the 700th largest company in the world. But if you go back to the biggest companies in the world, what's going to happen when they start employing a similar tactic? There's thousands of companies worth billions of dollars, and what if just 10% of them wanted to put 5% of their reserves into something like Bitcoin? The price is going to absolutely skyrocket. Now, for someone like me, I'm like, how can I tap into this infinite money glitch? And I've come across to crypto projects, something like OXO. This is something we were an early investor in at about 5.5 cents, somewhere back here. And obviously it's done really well. It reached 50 cents and that's pulled back to about 40 cents today. Let's see this thing turn around, hopefully tomorrow. But OXO is a privacy DEX. So they allow you to transact tokens in a private manner like Uniswap, but no one can see what you're actually transacting. They have obviously a fee when you swap tokens, and they also have a buy and sell tax on their project. And that makes me think, if I was someone like OXO and I've got a $500 million market cap, a $400 million market cap, what if I converted the revenues into Bitcoin? What if we had a backstop to the project where you have a treasury full of tens of thousands eventually Bitcoin and you become the Michael Saylor of the Web3 world? Well, it's something that I'm considering. I wanted to put the idea out there to share with others because it's clearly working for Michael Saylor. It can definitely be working for someone like me and you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.